Hello, Tungsten Miner here. I am down in a cave, and I've got a big chunk of obsidian right behind me. Why, you ask? Well, because I intend to make an Infernal Furnace. Let's jump in. Alright, what in the heck am I talking about? Well, let's see here. Infernal Furnace. This is a device which allows you to basically smelt things for free. So no fuel required at all, and you can even wind up getting some extra stuff back again. Now, the problem is, one, it requires a whole bunch of obsidian, so here I am mining obsidian. Two, it requires Nether Brick, which is in short supply in Middle-earth, as it turns out. And then three, it should be noted, the occasional bit of flux escapes into the environment. That sounds bad, so we don't want that. So having done the little bit of extra research we have here, I've got the Arcane Bellows, and this is a device basically that you provided some air vis, I think. I haven't actually made one of these before either, so I'm still learning a bit about Thaumcraft. Yeah, I think so. No, this one doesn't require anything. So yeah, this you can attach and it will burn pure, resulting in reduction of flux generated and increase the chance of creating bonus nuggets and other useful materials. So that sounds pretty cool. And then finally, the next piece of research is this Flux Scrubber. And basically what this thing does is when it's powered by air vis, that's the one that needs air, it'll slowly remove any flux from within 16 blocks of where it's placed. So you need to capture a node. That's this guy up here somewhere. Node in a jar. Where is that one? Here it is. Node in a jar. So you put down some glass around the node in the middle, and then you put some slabs on top of it, and the node gets trapped in a jar. You gotta tap the whole thing with a pretty full wand, and you wind up getting the jar back again. Then you can take that node and drop it on one of these node stabilizers, which will allow it to kind of sit right on top of the node stabilizer in a healthy way. And then finally, you can put one of these node transducers on top of it, and that will draw out a tiny bit of vis. So you can't recharge your wand from it anymore, but you can get a kind of air power or Terra power or whatever kind of node you happen to have picked up. And then there's this whole kind of process about how do you go and build these things. So what I'm doing at the moment is the early stages of this process, which is to say I'm going to get an Infernal Furnace put together, an Arcane Bellows put together, and a Flux Scrubber put together, and then probably as a separate video, I'll go about capturing a node, which can then provide air vis to this whole contraption to be able to scrub all of the flux that this thing invariably will wind up creating. So I'm going to get back to mining some obsidian here, and I'll meet you back at my place. Okay, we're back up here. I've got all the obsidian I need. Now let's take a peek in here and see the next thing is Nether Brick. So where on Earth, well, where on Middle-earth, more properly, do you get Nether Brick? Well, if we look here, we can see Nether Brick, Nether Brick, Nether Brick. That's this guy here. Get that from making Nether Bricks, obviously. Okay, not a problem. But is there a place to get these? Need Netherrack. Okay, well, where do you get Netherrack from? And as it turns out, you can get Netherrack by putting Cargon through the furnace. Now, Cargon is a red stone, which is native to Middle-earth. However, it's way the heck over here. So, let's go get some. All right, I have fast traveled all the way over to the Red Mountains. And as you can see, they are very well named, as they are indeed quite red. And as you can see, Cargon is basically all of this red stuff all around me. So all I need to do is just spend a little while here, digging some of it up, and I will have the raw ingredients I need for Netherrack. So I'm going to go do that for a bit, and I will meet you back at my place. And back home again at last. Oh, come on, open up. So I managed to collect a whole bunch of things, including the cargon I needed. So I'm just going to toss that straight into the furnace here and smelt it all up. We'll see what we get. I also took the trouble, since I had fast traveled over there, and you'll remember when you fast travel someplace, like my quarry, waypoint wait time, 1 hour, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. So I couldn't come back right away. So what I wound up doing is traversing the Red Mountains on foot. So I went from here, where I fast traveled in, all the way across, and finally set a waypoint here. This territory is pretty much like forests and grasslands and not too hard to traverse on a horse as compared to what I was doing, which was on foot, because going across the mountains is actually quite challenging. So in these dwarven forges and elven forges, they will smelt 4 things at a time, but they still use 8 units of fuel to smelt them. So you generally want to have units of 8 up here when you can, so that you use exactly all of the capability of the coal that you had. Let me go double check how much of all this stuff we need. Okay. So I need 5, and 3 is 8, and 4 more is 12 obsidian. I'm good there. 4, 4, and 4, so I need 16 of those blocks, which means if I take the entire set that I have smelted here, then I should have exactly what I need. Okay, well, I'll get these cooked up and go gather a few more ingredients, and I will be right back with you. Okay, now I think I have all the ingredients I need, both for the Infernal Furnace as well as the scrubber. So let's take a peek here. I've got all my obsidian together. I've got my nether brick together. I've got some iron bars. I even went and found an extra bucket of lava down in my mining system. That's just empty space, so not too hard to come up with. And then for the scrubber itself, I need some arcane stone blocks. I've got some extra essentia tubes for making my room back there. I've got my vis filter that's, again, left over for making all the alchemical apparatus back there. Got some more iron bars, and then the bellows is just wood, leather, 1 air shard, some metal, and a little bit of vis from a wand, and that's it. So let me put that together first. Okay, we've got a bellows. That and that. Okay, we have a flux scrubber. We have the ingredients for making the furnace, which means we now need a source of air vis, because remember, where does it say so? When powered by air vis. So I don't have a source of air vis, which means what I need to make is one of these guys. So I'm going to go start gathering materials for getting this together, but in order for that to even be useful, I need one of these. So actually the first thing I'm going to do is go find myself a good source of air vis to power this thing, and I will be right back with you. On second thought, it actually is instructive to show how you go about finding these things. So as you noticed from last time, as I go wandering around the countryside, I'm just going to go sleep while I talk. As I go wandering about the countryside, I've been using my thermometer to scan nodes as I find them. I press the I key, and that brings up this list. So this is a mod that I've added to the mod pack, which just automatically makes notes as you go around on what nodes you have found and where they are. So I'm looking for air vis, and I want to sort by distance. And I'm now looking at something that is about 2 kilometers away that gives me 52 air, which I think should be plenty for what I have in mind here. So I'm going to mark that one. And in order to see the mark, I need to be wearing my goggles. And so you can see I've got a compass rosette off on the left-hand side that's pointing the way. I'm going to stay in the Shire, so I'm not too fussed about keeping armor. So I'm just going to drop all that in there. And yeah, not real too worried about any of that. So, great time to go wandering about in the downfall. But I do need to bring, of course, the equipment to be able to capture the node. So I'll just grab all of that. And if I remember correctly, you need a 70 of each. Yeah. So that means I need this guy. And it just barely has enough of everything I'll need, so that's fine. I do not need to bring my... I'm just looking for a good chest to drop this off in. Don't need to bring my ingredients with me. And I think that'll be fine. So this horse I found in Rohan. And if I bounce off him, you can see from the top right there that his jump strength is 1.0, which is very good. He's got a lot of health, which is very good. And his speed is 0.3519. Not entirely sure what that's a measure of, but typical Shire ponies are like 0.17, 0.14, maybe as good as 0.12. Oh, that's inconvenient. That display only shows up when I'm on the horse. So I need to be heading almost exactly south. So I'll just have to jump off my horse once in a while and double check. Okay, what's this one? 64 and 31 Perdito. You know, I think I'm actually going to try and catch this one. Because that's plenty of Aravis. I think it's even better than the one I was thinking I was going after. Oh. Except I didn't bring anything to tie this horse down with. Sorry, guys. I have to clean up the bushes here. That's the problem with having a fast horse, is they can walk away from you pretty fast, too. Okay. So, how do we capture this thing? Well, in my extra gear bag, I have kept the raw materials. So if we look at this diagram, we can see we need a full layer of glass underneath. We need to surround it with a layer of glass, and then a full layer of glass on top. And then, I'm not sure why it's bouncing back and forth, but basically you need slabs on the very, very top. So I'm going to start with the layer that's just underneath here. And I don't think I was clever enough to bring any kind of scaffolding to be able to jump up there. Okay. Good enough. Very good, and now... Brilliant. We have a jar. Okay, so all we need to do now is tap it with a wand that has enough vis, which is a lot, and it will bottle up that node for us. Oh, come on. There we go. You have to tap right in the middle, and I wasn't quite tall enough to get there. All right. So I'm going to now break this jar. And now I have a node in a jar. Now you notice how it says fading. That's one of the problems with capturing a node in a jar, is that you can sometimes damage the node. It looks like I have done here. Now, if I put this onto a node stabilization platform, we can see somewhere in here, very, very small chance of turning fading nodes into pale nodes. So hopefully we will be lucky. I will be lucky, and this will turn back into a pale node. The consequences, if not, is that this node will just be weaker and it won't produce nearly as much power as I was hoping it would. But we'll see. Once you get further along into your magical studies, there's actually better ways to capture nodes in a jar that do not damage them. Unfortunately, I'm just not that far along yet, and I would rather do this project now rather than later. All right, back home again. And the next step is going to be to figure out what to do with this node now that I have it. And we need to make a few of these devices here. So the first thing we're going to want is a node stabilizer. And I think what we actually want is an advanced node stabilizer, because what this thing lets you do is possibly fix the damage we've done to the node by bottling it up. But of course, we have to make the node stabilizer first. So we're going to need some quartz, we're going to need some arcane stone, we need some gold. All right, let's see what we have available. Quartz I've got, fortunately. That's good. We're going to need some gold. We're going to need some wood. I need some cobblestone, iron, redstone. That will get us a piston. I think we needed, niter and arcane stone. Got some of those, and got one of those. It's one of the reasons why I make a little extra of most things, that I've got them when I need them. Okay, so I think now we need just a wand with a bunch of this in it. Let's see if I have enough on hand, or if I need to go make a trip. So it looks like I'm going to have to go off and recharge my wand. I will be right back with you. Okay, back again. I went and charged up my wand. So now, looking good. Let me get my Thaumaturge's robes back on, because that gives you a discount on how much it costs to make these things. And then also looking at, looks like any of the three of them. Terra, I think, is the easiest to come by. So I'm going to grab my water ring and my order ring, put those on to get more of a discount. So that's as good as it's going to get for me. Node stabilizer. Perfect. And I said I wanted an advanced node stabilizer. Ooh. Okay, so I'm looking at this and saying I've got the middle bit. I can probably come up with enough redstone to do that. I can make the alumentum and the niter. But this worries me. I don't know that my infusion table is quite up to the task for that. So I think I might just stop here. Which means the other thing I need is the top bit. Let me remind myself what that looks like. That's this guy, I think. Node Transducer. All right. Okay, so I'm sure my wand has got enough of that. I can probably come up with that. A redstone comparator, some niter. So I'm going to need to make some niter. I don't have any more. Okay, so now let's see if I have enough redstone. Look at that. So redstone in this mod pack, a little hard to come by because none of it spawns in Middle-earth. Instead, what you do is you take your rubies, toss them in a millstone, and you'll get a bunch of redstone back again. And rubies themselves can be obtained by purchasing them from pretty much anybody. Now, of course, they don't always have rubies for sale, but if every time a wandering merchant comes by your place, you pop out there and just kind of see, do they have anything for sale? If you've been doing quests and getting money, then you should have some to spend on rubies. And that will give you a pretty decent source of redstone. And as you can see, I've actually managed to accumulate quite a lot. And I don't really need much more. Node. Transducer. Okay, iron and a comparator. And 1, 2, 3, and quartz. Don't have any more quartz. That's a problem. Not a huge problem. So quartz is not found in Middle-earth either. And while you can eventually make your way back to the overworld and finally build a nether portal and go find some in the nether, there's actually an easier way if you are a wizard, which is take a block of salt. And salt can be found as salt ore all over the place. If you really want to find a bunch in a hurry, then go to the seaside and you'll find salt ore encrusted in the sand. You can also get salt from taking woven cloth, regular sand, and water. That will get you 1. And if you got white sand, that will get you 2. So you can actually just process sand into getting yourself salts. Or you can get rock salt pretty much anywhere. It's found underground. It's found everywhere. You can either run it through a forge, which seems kind of strange to me, or you can process it through a millstone. It takes a little bit longer, but you don't have to pay anything for fuel. You can also buy it from a bunch of people. So I need to go get some. Turns out, though, I have been making salt for a little while, and I have a bunch extra. So I'm going to just make myself a block of salt. And this, ignis and vitreous. Okay. Get a lot of use out of this setup back here. Okay, now I need 3 of those, 3 of those, and if I remember, I need plain stone, 3 of those. And remember, you can use this table to make even ordinary objects. Okay, so that on top, that there, oops, not that. Oh, it is that, so I need to make another one. All right, and that there, and I needed 2 pieces of iron, not just 1. Okie dokie. Which means, hopefully, I still have enough. Yeah, I do. Blocks, yeah, so now I'm out of quartz. I need to make, yeah. So I'm going to go get the rest of this material together and be right back with you. And here we are. I have gathered the rest of everything we needed. I actually went and made just a whole bunch more quartz and a whole bunch more niter because I seem to be using them quite a lot. And that gives me my node stabilizer. So looking at what I've got here, I've got my transducer, I've got my stabilizer, I've got my node itself. So this setup should give me the ability to harness some air centivis. I've got my nether bricks, I've got my obsidian, I've got a lava bucket, and I've got iron bars. That should allow me to make my Infernal Furnace. And then finally, I've got my Flux Scrubber, which should allow me to remove any of the flux that this thing creates, powered by this setup over here. So I think I got everything I need to actually go make my Infernal Furnace. The question is, where do I put it? I kind of don't have any room. I think what I need to do, what I'm planning on doing in any case, is extending the corridor backwards. So I've kind of used up all the room in here. I've kind of used up all the room in here, which means there's nothing for it but to make some more rooms. So I'm going to go off and take care of that, and then we'll do the final setup. All right, I have extended this corridor a bit, and I have added a new room, pretty much in the same style as the other rooms, and I have gone ahead and set up our equipment. So we've got our Flux Scrubber, we've got our node stabilizer, I've got a node in a jar ready to be released, I've got the node Transducer with a redstone signal turned on above it. I've assembled the blocks, but I have not formed the Arcane Furnace, and I put a ladder on the side because presumably once this is formed, I will be able to just toss things in here. I'll probably want a hungry chest at some point because I think this just spits stuff out as it makes it. And I think we're ready to go. So, okay, transformed. Looks like I made it right. Kind of cool, nifty. Oh, maybe this is where things spit out. That looks more logical. Or this. Okay. Look at that. All right. Well, let's get this all active before we turn that thing on. So now we need to release the node. Okay. So it says this takes some time for this to convert. I've actually not used this part of Thaumcraft either, so I'm not 100% sure what we're expecting to happen here. I'm going to go get my goggles. Okay, that's what I would have expected, because this is now releasing Centiviz. Now I don't see this doing anything. Oh. Okay, it has been converted. That was the process. And now it's charging up again over here. So let's give it a try. I have brought with me some silver ore. Well, there you go. I got the one ingot that I was expecting, plus the silver nugget that was promised as a potential output. You don't necessarily get it each and every time. I don't see any flux or anything horrible here, so maybe this thing is working. Let's try a bit more of a test. Okay, gold nuggets. Fair enough. Okay, well, I have one last thing to try at the moment. Let's see if we get iron. Still not seeing any flux, which I'm happy about. But I'm not really sure if that's because I can't see it, none is being generated, or this thing is actually working. So I've watched about, I don't know, roughly a dozen ingots pop out of this thing, and I've seen nothing else happen at all. Well, I think that's the last of the iron nuggets, and still no sign of any flux. And moreover, when I hover on this thing, the Thaumonomicon says that it's going to produce Precantio as an essence with all of the flux that it creates and scrubs. And it hasn't produced any. So my thought is that I simply haven't seen it actually produce anything yet. So I'm going to call this operational, although I may find out otherwise later on. And I think that's about it. Here we went from the very beginnings all the way through the project of creating an Infernal Furnace and all of the equipment to make sure it doesn't pollute my environment. So that's it for now. Talk to you later.